Okay. That's recording us too. So I'll start. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with me here. Or you're not really coming to me today. I came to you. Thank you for allowing me to come to you today, to your homes. And whose house is it? Is this William's house? Okay, it's a nice house. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here. And just here to interview the Schenk Brothers, who I think most of them, or maybe all of them, been in the military. All of them been in the military. And I heard a story about the Schenk Brothers, just that they'd all served, and a lot of them served together. And I wanted to interview, and I wanted to find out what the stories were. So who's the oldest?
Gene.
Gene's the oldest, right? Gene, did you go in first?
Yeah.
You went in the military first? How old were you?
17.
17 years old? Did you have to get a waiver to get in at 17, or you could just join at 17?
Join.
Okay. And
parents had to sign.
what's that?
Parents had to sign.
Parents had to sign. Parents had to sign because you're under 18, right? Did you go in the...
Well, I was in Washington. No, you remember you came home, Gene.
Yeah. And we've got Mother here as well. What's your full name, ma'am? Lula Lois Ray Schenk. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boys. Do you have any girls? One girl. You got me by one. I've got 6 children, but 2 boys and 4 girls. So, and none of them have gone in the military yet. I see that. I was in the military, in the Navy, but none of my kids have gone in yet. So we'll see. 3 of them were in Vietnam at the same time. That's a lot. So I thought we'd just start in order and go with Gene Schenk. Gene, do you remember what year it was when you went in?
1960.
60? Okay. Why go in the military, in the Army?
Air Force.
Air Force, in the Air Force. Why go in the Air Force in 1960?
Well, I seen the cotton field. And I seen
Okay.
a better way of getting away from it.
Okay, sure.
And that's about it. Thought it'd be a lot better to travel the world, but they said,
Right.
well,
A lot of the veterans that I've spoken with and interviewed have said the same thing, that they thought it was a better opportunity and a better way to go than just hanging around locally. And in my experience, getting out of Shelby, I grew up in Shelby. Nothing wrong with it. It's just getting out gave me a much broader perspective of the planet, and how the way I think, and the way other people view us, and just the world's a lot bigger place than you think when you grow up in Cleveland County, or than I thought when I.
special Lawndale.
Or Lawndale, yeah, sure. Went to Washington, D.C.? Okay. So can you tell me about your experience when you went in the military? I know why you went in now.
Well, when I went to join up, I wanted to be a Marine.
Okay.
But when I went in there to just get me interviewed, the boy had left his birth certificate, and the Marine sergeant cussed him out up and down. So I said, I don't need this.
Right.
So I went
That's
by
not
the
what I
Air
mean.
Force
Right.
place, and the man said, young man said, you want a coat? And I told him, yeah. He said, you smoke? I said, yeah. He said, well, come on in and sit talk with me a minute. He talked nice, and I drank the Coke and stuff, and he asked him, did I want to join up with them? And I told him, yeah, because he's a whole lot nicer,
Right.
And went on in there and pledged to the Legion, bunch of us had no come in. He got a group of us. We were playing cards and all that stuff, and so we thought we was in a good thing. And so when he come out and they raise your hand, pledge allegiance to the flag, and then we thought we were gonna go back and play cards and drink cokes, and the man coming there and cussed us out. Told us on our feet, no more cokes and no more smoke.
Cokes and smokes were over. It was time to go to boot camp.
And, I said, I thought I don't got away and warned you. But
How long were you in the Air Force?
4 years.
I should have seen that, but it was upside down, USAF. I saw the ball cap and it was like camo color, so I thought, oh, it's USAF. So 4 years, 4 and no more. Okay. I was in the Navy for 4 years. And what was your job while you were in?
Our policeman.
Policeman? Air policeman? Is that like an MP or something like that?
AP.
AP? Okay. And on the base?
Yeah.
Okay. So keeping everybody straight on the base?
Yeah, it was basically like a regular highway patrol, whatever.
Okay. So, what did you do for a living when you got out?
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything? Okay. Do you think that your service in the Air Force prepared you for private civilian life?
Well, it helped me understand a lot. You can't get mad and do what you want to without consequences.
True.
Just have a little respect for other folks, and that's about it. You have to work at whatever you want.
So respect to others, work hard, and that there are consequences for bad actions, right? Yeah, I was not ready for college at a young age either, and I just had some things to learn, and I think some oats to sow. So I think the Navy was a good place for me to do that, blow off some steam for a while. Well, is there anything else you'd like to tell me about your military service?
Well, see, I would have lost my leg in '62.
Wow.
And I've been trying to get benefits from that.
You lost your leg in
Now,
1962.
I didn't lose it.
Yeah.
They were going to cut it off.
Okay.
But I talked to the commander at the hospital, and he said he'd try something else to save the leg.
Right.
And so he did. But they're supposed to have been cutting it off at 7 o'clock that morning, next morning. And he come back, they were going to try something else. And so I never could get nothing out of it because they were going to give me a medical discharge. But I didn't want to do that because I wanted to be able to work when I got out. And then I was young enough, it didn't really bother me after it healed. But I still have problems with it all through the years, and I try to get the benefits from the
Service-connected disability.
the VA or whatever.
Sure.
And I hadn't got it to the day.
Really? Even though it was a clear-cut service-connected injury?
Yeah, because Dawn carried me to Washington to a hearing, and it didn't do no good.
Really? That's unfortunate. I'm an attorney who does benefits, Veterans Aid and Attendance pension benefits. That's different than disability benefits, right? But I am a certified attorney through the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, and I'd be glad to talk to you about that and making that connection. Because generally, if you can make a connection between the injury you're sustaining and pain you're having now, trouble you're having now, to the service.
I stayed in the hospital 3 months.
Right.
For my leg to heal, and which the scar. I still got the scar, but the pain's still there. But
You don't mind me asking, what happened?
Well, I had they say it was a staph infection
Oh.
in the hospital.
And you just had trouble out of the leg ever since. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, yeah.
A few years ago, I put in again, and it still turned down. So I just give up on it.
I hear you. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that that's been your experience with your disability application. I've handled a lot of state-level disability cases for civilians, but never any veterans' disability cases. So, yeah. Did you have an attorney during that process?
I had an attorney when I went to that hearing.
Right.
But I hadn't had that.
But it didn't work out for you. Interesting. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I thank you for your service, for your military service. That's exceptional, okay? And anything you guys want to tell me about military service, about anything, I don't care. I mean, look, I've heard it all. I've been an attorney for a long time. I started out as a criminal attorney and doing all other cases, done tons of civil work, done tons of benefits work. I have military experience too, so anything you need to tell me about your military service or anything else, don't think it's going to offend me in any way, okay? All right? I'm a big boy, I can take it. So, well, thank you for your service. I appreciate that, okay? And anything else you remember or want to tell us, just feel free to chime in as we all talk, okay? Talk about it.
But anyway, the last time I went to, they took the x-rays and stuff, but they still don't know how that leg feels. See, right now, it feels like it's cold on this spot. It can be in there. Mm-hmm. Sometimes.
Oh, right, on that leg?
Yeah. And it'd be cold and I'd be sweating.
Mm-hmm.
And it feel like wind blowing in it sometimes. And I don't know what it is, but x-rays can't take care of that. Anyway, I just left it alone. It wasn't doing no good. Been doing about 40 years and accomplished nothing.
Well, that's not good. I'm not sure why they haven't approved a service-connected disability for you. It would seem to me that if you had that experience then and still having trouble out of the leg now, then that's absolutely some type of service-connected disability. Yeah.
See, I got sick when I was overseas.
Right.
Come to Philadelphia.
Where were you overseas?
Newfoundland, Arnold's home on Air Force Base.
So you were on an Air Force base in Newfoundland.
Mm.
How was that?
Cold.
Cold, that's what I heard. And I interviewed someone else, Roland Stewart, who lives in Gastonia. And he was also stationed. He was a medic, actually. He worked in the labs on the Newfoundland Air Force Base, probably around the same time. He said that there were walls built up of snow, like where the highways were, where it snowed so much, and then snow plowed
walls, snow drift.
Snow drift, yeah. But it looked like just walls of snow.
About 18 feet high.
18 feet high.
Road, where they throw the snow up.
Yeah. That's unreal. Unreal.
I thought so too.
Yeah. It's too cold.
And man.
Why do we have an Air Force base in Newfoundland anyway?
Refueling.
Refueling?
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when I come, that man says it's a beautiful day, sun shining, and temperature is 40 below zero. I said, what in the world have I been?
But the sun's shining though, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe should have gone in the Marines. I don't know.
Oh, no.
You don't trust those ones that are nice and offer you a Coke and a cigarette.
They killed me while I was training.
Oh, yeah, in the Marines? Sure. Well, thank you very much for your service. And you spent time as a air police in Newfoundland? And then were you stationed anywhere else?
Well, the first place I went was Mississippi.
Was that for boot camp?
No, I went to Texas boot camp.
So Texas for boot camp, okay.
And then left Texas and went to Mississippi.
Mm-hmm. Why Mississippi?
That wasn't good.
No, that wasn't good. Why wasn't that good?
Because that's when they had the Freedom March.
freedom marches in
civil
Mississippi.
rights stuff.
And so some tense stuff going on down there. Okay. But and then so how long were you in Mississippi?
A year and a half. Yeah.
Okay. And any thoughts about your service while you were in Mississippi, other than it wasn't good?
Well, we were mostly restricted to the base.
Everybody.
So, yeah, on account of what was going on.
Right. And so you couldn't go out in town much.
No, you could go, but it's basically at your own risk.
Right. Right.
Because when I was down there, they tried to busload them. They tried to kill Tony Bennett and somebody else.
Right.
There's quite a few of them.
Well, let's see.
I think Charleston Heston was in there. But in a way, it wasn't good.
Like Tony Bennett, the singer,
Mm-hmm.
tried to kill him.
Yeah.
Because he was coming down in support.
Yeah, they was on a bus. Like I said, it was Charleston Heston, but I can't remember now. But
Right.
in a way, they tried to get the tires down on the bus and
Right.
stuff and try to run them out of town. But they made it.
Well, I guess they didn't want to come on the Air Force Base and mess with that.
Well, it wasn't on the base because
Yeah.
we had a colonel. He didn't play that stuff.
He didn't tolerate that type of
Yeah,
stuff.
town didn't influence him now.
Good, excellent. And then you went from Mississippi
To Newfoundland.
to Newfoundland. That's a pretty big change, climate-wise. Mississippi's a pretty hot place.
Then when I left Newfoundland, I went to California.
We're in California.
But anyway, when I left Newfoundland, I was on my 30-day leave, what got me messed up because I taken medication over there and it turned in. I was allergic to it when I got back where it was warm.
Okay.
And that's the reason I was in the hospital in Philadelphia.
Gotcha.
Navy Hospital. And I stayed in there 3 months.
But then you came out and finished your service, right?
Yeah.
Because you went in 60 and got out in what, 64?
64.
Yeah. And you're in the hospital at 62.
Yeah.
Okay. And then went out to California and served.
Yeah, after I got out of the hospital.
I was in San Diego, California. That was my duty station. That's where I was based out of. I enjoyed it. I like my time in California. Anyway, I don't know. Did you? Have
Yeah, I like California.
like that area?
Yeah, I was out there in Marysville, but I can't think of it.
Sure.
Bill Air Force Base? Yeah, that's where it was.
Okay. Well, thank you again for your service. Okay.
Okay.
And thank you for being. Can you tell me before I move on? Can you tell me anything about the job that you remember or that you liked, or
With the air policeman job?
air policeman job? Yeah.
And when in Newfoundland, I worked with the mounties.
Okay.
Well, that's about it. Just writing tickets and whatever you had to do.
Writing tickets, like for people speeding around the base and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're running through the gate and don't stop, show your ID and stuff
Sure.
like that.
Okay, just keeping people accountable, keeping them straight. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that there's almost anything you can do in civilian life. There's a job for it on a military base, probably. Most things. Well, thanks again. And who went in next? Who went in the military next?
Who went in next? Charles went in there.
Charles did. Charles should. Okay. Charles, what branch of military service were you in?
Air Force.
Air Force. Okay. And all right, what made you want to go in the Air Force? Because Gene had gone in the Air Force?
Yeah.
Okay, so just following Gene's footsteps?
No, I was following mine, but the point is, I worked over and I was brought home $43, and I done worked over, so I let them get it, so I had my boss take me to Shelby, and I passed all 4 tests.
Right.
And then, only reason I didn't go in the Navy, I couldn't swim.
Yeah.
And they didn't have one back pocket.
Sure.
I didn't need that. And the Army beat you
Well,
up
tell me
that
the
way.
back pocket. What do you mean about the back
They
pocket?
didn't have one back pocket. I got
4 pockets.
2 at the back and 2 in the front.
Yeah, and you needed more than just
I don't
one.
wear 3 pairs.
Gotcha.
Okay. Hey.
And they do. I remember Navy boot camp. They make you jump in. They made us all jump off this high dive in the swimming pool and see if we could swim.
Oh, I passed that thing. I caught the monkey bars in
Monkey
the
bar.
mid-air.
Okay. All right.
See, I know I couldn't swim and
Yeah.
I wasn't going down because they let you go up down 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
They was dumb. You jumped that fence and then you be ready to roll.
Yeah.
I went 143 pounds and that was good weight.
Yeah.
I could fly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's light.
And then, so, you're not even going to Army. See, the Air Force, they get on the phone and tell you to go get shot at.
Right. They would. They'll
We
tell
don't
you.
go. We use
Yeah.
telephone, send you. You
Right.
see, I go to our current flyers, and I had to do was block traffic. Then I had fun in the Air Force until I went to the bed and went to sleep like we're supposed to.
Right.
In Charles Hall, we was 2 to the room after I got out of basic training because I went to open my mother level, so I joined the chain gang without knowing it.
Right.
That's in basic training. And they climb up that hill, but they had sand down here. And if you was stupid enough to climb up that hill,
Right.
turn loose and fall back down, you're going to have to get back up there and go back up there again.
Where was your basic training? In Texas?
San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio? Okay.
I know we was across the border too and everything.
Yeah.
I had no business doing that, but I did it.
You mean going to Mexico?
I was a little devil on the
Yeah.
side.
I mean, I've been to
In my own
Mexico a
respect.
number of times. Yeah.
I done been to Mexico, boy.
When I was in the Navy. Yeah. Why you? I mean, was that like on assignment, or you just going there on the weekend?
You know, I went to Air Police Academy.
Yeah.
I graduated from there, but see, and then so me had a 65 Mustang. We went and rented 5 of them.
Rented a 65 Mustang.
Yeah, when they first come out, we riding that baby. And then
Where'd you go? Did you go to Mexico in it?
yeah, we crossed the border.
What's there to do in Mexico?
Go where we wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything to do down there? Just hang.
Oh, boy, beautiful women, Lord.
Okay, well, nothing you want to say in front of your mama, maybe. I don't know.
Well, Mama, thank you. I'm glad she didn't make me but anyway, yeah, I went, and then, brother, when them jokers went in there, them Mexicans ain't tall, and I ain't
No,
tall,
they're
but
not.
I had to bend them.
Yeah.
And they were over there talking to them.
As a general rule, yeah.
And then, yeah, I was a leader.
Did you feel tall down there?
Oh, yeah, compared to them, and then them switchblades saying, "Hey, y'all," they said, and we were
What'd they say?
them switchblades, them knives.
Yeah.
And we was running, man, we run down through the creek, and that Mustang is still over there somewhere.
You left the Mustang in Mexico. You went to
That's what
Mexico.
it is.
How, did you like smuggle yourself back across the border? Or what?
All 5 of
All
y'all
5 of
come
you?
on, and we run down.
Would you just
the
run
street.
across the Rio Grande or something?
Yeah, we all across
Okay.
that water, and then them
There you
ducks,
go.
we jumped past them ducks, and here come the Air Force boys right there on the line. And you talk about sitting in the back of the seat. We went to the back.
They got you though, didn't they?
No, we got back to that base. No,
But I mean, they took care of you. They scooped you up. They took you back to
the
base.
bus stop. We didn't run to a bus stop. They picked us up. And
Yeah.
when he opened that door, we didn't stop at no front. We went to the back.
Yeah.
And then we closed the door. Away we go. And that car's still there. But see, I had fun messing up.
Yeah.
I just had a habit of just think of something I had to do just wrong.
Sure.
And then so when everybody else get in trouble, they call me Lawyer Schenk. They come tell me I think I'm a lie for them and get them out of their trouble.
You were the lawyer for.
Yeah. And then so like, and the other part I didn't like about, that's when that Vietnam War started.
Sure.
And then talking about, anybody want to volunteer and go overseas, the Vietnam War? I said, look here, man. I said, sir. You have to say sir first. I said,
Right.
sir,
Right.
you crazy. I'm going home to see what my mama doing.
Right.
I'm not going over young. And next thing I know, my legs, I went to bed and my leg, one of them wouldn't even wake up. The rest of my body worked except this left leg. And I turned around on the top bunk. I told my partner, because we both, all of the police, I said, hit it right there to see the
You were police. Air Force Police?
policemen.
Okay.
And then all of them was. And it wouldn't jump out. I couldn't feel it, but I look at it, I said, give me that stick, billet stick. I hit it, and he felt much. And then he called it. Our police squad thing, he met it. Put me in quarantine for 2 weeks in Chambly, France. Everybody come here to see me. I could speak a little bit of French, but not enough to know what I'd be saying, really. And
What happened? What happened to you think?
right to today, they don't know.
Yeah.
And then so I was quarantined for 2 weeks, and they sent all the way to Wiesbaden, Germany, blood tests and everything. And okay, next thing I know, my legs started working. And he come down, then they sent me back to the barracks and everything. All right. And I was about 2 weeks or so, and I went back to my room and everything. Then there it go. Both of them were like that. Both of them, and they shoot. That when they shipped me from Chambly, France to Wiesbaden, Germany for 2 months. And they come in there every night, every morning, with a needle, get my blood. And then I said, y'all vampires. I said, look here, I ain't giving up no more now. Y'all draining me. Shoot, okay. I mess around, and then and it was about 4 or 5 steps. And the hospital floor is shiny, it looked like glass. And I was going to the chow hall. I told that nurse, they bring my plate to me. I said, no, I got in the wheelchair. I said, I can make it down from there. I was wide open, I was getting used to it because they said I never would walk again.
Right.
And I said, sir, I ain't gonna say what I said. But I said, no, I ain't what I said, but I know y'all can take it from there. But, shoot, I went down there and got right to the step and I put on brakes with that wheelchair, scooped right on down, bam, hit the doggone floor, and then on the other side, slipped out and fell out the doggone wheelchair, and then one leg started working. I was hopping around the hospital on crutches for another month or so. The next one come down, and the other leg. I said, I don't walk now. Then they still had me on crutches. They gave me another couple of weeks. Shoot. When they found out I could walk, they said I never could walk again. And right now, at times, I can walk out the door. And now all of a sudden, I'll drop. And somebody will say that you drunk. I ain't seen no look. It'll give away in the house.
Right.
And sometimes one will do it, and sometimes the other won't. And they don't hurt, and they won't swell. It's something they don't know about. That's when I get paid for that. And I don't care. But I mean, I don't want to know when they're going to ever do it, but they don't let me know.
Right.
I got a wheelchair at the house.
Yes, sir.
I got a walker. And then I got crutches. And then I got walkers, hand walkers. And see, I got that. I'm good, fully equipped in case I don't want to be helpless myself.
Right.
I'm used to being myself, my way.
Yes, sir.
And if you don't like it, forget it. Don't bother me.
Yes, sir.
I sure won't bother you.
Yes, sir.
And that's the way I am. And then that's the part of service that I like service very well. And then it just said, I want to know right today what was wrong with my leg. They still can't tell me. But they won't let me know and nothing. I'll just drop down.
How long were you in the Air Force?
A year, almost a year and some change. I don't know how long.
Gotcha. But just because of that condition,
They couldn't
medical
find
discharge?
out.
Yeah.
That's when they went and did that.
Right.
See, I had a job to keep me, but see, I had to guard the reconnaissance captain thing who will fly them planes. Mm-hmm. And they had to let them in, their wives and kids come in and visit them. I was sitting there at the desk and everything. And then I go to the door and let them in. They visiting all and everything, and then let them back out, and then sitting down there and everything. And then, so that wasn't a good enough job because they couldn't change it. That's the only way I had to go every day. And shoot, and then out my hours up, I had somebody else to come in. But that wasn't no fun. And then I was, before that happened, I was on the SAT team, And then they had me out of boondocks like far from here to where we at now. Guarding that old ammunition and stuff, and it was in the dark. That was in Chambly, France, before I got my leg messed up. And it was dark, and out of the gate shack thing, no flashlight, no radio. And I was in that gate shack, but there was a phone out there.
Right.
I called Sergeant Brown. I was Sergeant Brown. I hear them coming in Chambly, all of them with sheep and everything. And them mountain lions, wow, oh boy. And then something, I got into the gate shack and then you had to walk around to there every hour on the hour. I didn't walk for 1.5 hours, and then I didn't go all the way either. And then I got back to the gate shack and someone told me to do like this, look up. There's a great big black cat thing, whatever he was, up on top as you go in the door and had his feet hanging. I closed that door and called Sergeant Brown. I said, you don't send another man out here with a flashlight and a radio and a gun. And I said, I ain't playing. I said, I look at people up there and don't see him. I'm going to walk back to that day. I guarantee you I'll run or something.
Yeah.
And then they sent me another man, gun and everything. Then I said, he ain't going back with you. And then Bo was out there and I said, I ain't going to walk around this place and them dead bones and things out there. And I'm going to be dead going around that thing. And then here's something thinking, I don't know whether them cats out there or not. And didn't care. If they want to sheep, bless you. Because I wasn't going to bless me because I wasn't going no more.
Yes, sir.
And I got back and then they left me out there on the doggone plane. Had that air show. 16 hours hungry. I had to call in again. Oh, we forgot the air show was over with.
Right.
Flying in plane like you driving a car on the ground. Doom, doom, you up down the way. That wasn't no fun to me out there 16 hours. I was hungry.
I bet.
That's my experience. And
Sure.
I ain't got nothing against the Air Force at all.
Right.
And service leader one.
Yes, sir.
But I will not go back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The long day I don't.
Everybody has a different experience, you know.
It's a rough one.
Sure. With the military and life and everything else.
Either one.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the service.
And I
okay?
wasn't going to the Marine, just like my oldest brother said.
Sure.
You dead before you be alive. You ain't got to fight nobody.
In the Marines.
Yeah, then the Navy too up there talking about a SEAL. I wasn't born to be no SEAL.
Yes, sir.
Stay up under that water all that. I can't stay under there. I just take a shower and I can
Right.
jump out from under there anytime I want.
Yes, sir.
You ain't jumping out when I'm young. You best believe that.
Yes,
And the Marine, I ain't going up under no water and living up under no water no 3 or 4 months or days or years. On land, I'm going to stay up here.
Yes, sir.
And thank you for listening. Invite y'all a lot more Skinny Bronx. Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your service. I appreciate
it.
that. So who went in the military next?
That would be me.
Vietnam veteran. As the hat says, right?
Yep.
Donald Schenk.
Yep, that was me. And I guess mine started, I started the school in 54, the same year my uncle was drafted, and I always said I was going to go in the Army.
Started school, college?
School, elementary school.
Elementary school. Okay. In 54. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you don't look old enough to have started college in 54. Yeah.
he came home in his uniform, and I always said I was going to go to the Army. And it's sad I started school the same year he graduated. But anyway, and little did I know, exactly 12 years later, I joined the Air Force where he was in the Army. But he was drafted on the 16th of June, and I ended up joining on the 16th of June.
66?
Yeah. And my reason for going was getting away from that farm.
And you went into the Air Force?
I went
you
to
said?
the Air Force.
Yeah, okay.
And
Is everybody Air Force? No, okay. We got some others. Okay. All right. Nobody Marines, are there? Anybody Marines?
Nope.
What, Army? Okay. Okay.
And I was a security policeman. I went to Texas for basic training, then went to McCoy Air Force Base, Florida. From there, I went to Vietnam. From Vietnam, I came back. I was medevac back. I got sick. I wasn't hurt or anything. I got sick. And turned to Charleston Naval Station for about a little over a month, and then I got out and I went to Andrews Air Force Base. And like I said, I was security police. But,
Is that air police?
well, they had changed it. When I first went in, it was air police.
And then it was
and then they changed the name to security
police?
Yeah.
Okay.
And all I got to do is, when I was in Florida, you look out, you see the heat waves, and you got to walk around a B-52 with a red line around it. They call it no-loan zone that you could stand in,
Right.
Just be looking for that shade. You had to wait till the shade come outside and play. But anyway, I volunteered to go to Vietnam to get away from Florida.
You volunteered
Right.
to go to Vietnam.
Right.
Why would you do that?
I wanted to get away from Florida.
Just to get up. You didn't like that duty that much. You wanted to go to Vietnam.
And not only that, even though I left here and things were segregated here,
Sure.
but when I got to Florida, that was the first time that I had actually had discrimination to hit me directly.
Okay.
And
You grew up here,
right
in Cleveland County, in Lawndale.
Yeah.
and you didn't experience discrimination in Lawndale like you just experienced.
Well, not something just specifically just to you. Just
Yeah.
like for promotion.
Sure.
You get messed over for promotion like people. I mean, it affected me
Sure.
directly. Not where it wasn't like
How'd that make you feel?
Oh, it made me feel bad. Awful.
Angry.
Yeah.
Did it make you angry? I don't know.
Yeah,
for
I
me,
mean, like I said, it
for
made
me,
me
if I
feel
get
awful.
if I get picked over or if something happens to me directly, and I know that someone else has basically intentionally done that to me, and it's not fair.
Yeah.
There's no. I mean, I have something in me that's just it makes me super angry. I mean, I cannot stand it when those things happen. Right.
That's what I'm saying. And, I was held back from promotion because I had to get what they call a fire level in order to get promoted. And
Okay.
stuff. And they wouldn't let me. I mean, it was just stuff that done direct to me. And that was the first time that I had really experienced that.
Sure.
And after that, like I said, I volunteered to go to Vietnam to get away from there. But I put in for Thailand, I think it was. Thailand and Guam, I think it was.
Let me ask you this: what? Because I'm interested. I'm interested in that too. Being that you're an African American family, and in the military during the '60s, talked about civil rights thing going down in Mississippi, and I'm interested in that aspect too, as to what your experience was, if there was discrimination in the military at that time, if it was as prevalent as civilian society at that time, or if there were different areas that treated African Americans differently. Like he talked about Mississippi. That wasn't a good time down there in the town, but the commander at the base didn't allow that. It's what I hear, right? And made sure that didn't affect the base and what went on the base. He had the base to run, right?
Well, he had a meeting for the whole base, and so when he told him he was the commander and his rules and stuff, and,
Right.
and he missed all the white soldiers and had the black ones stay.
Okay. And this was a white guy, commander?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And he told us, anybody call us out our name, said send him to the hospital before you come to see me.
Okay.
And so,
So stand up for yourself. Don't allow that to happen, and I'll back you up.
yeah,
We're good.
basically he just told you to beat him up.
I got you.
Before he come report you.
Sure. Sure.
And I know after I left there, I went to Newfoundland, come back, and I went back to Mississippi. And you thought things would change a little bit, but they hadn't. So I went to a restaurant to get a hamburger, and they said we couldn't come in. We had to get the hamburger. We could order a hamburger, but we had to go to the back to get it. So we ordered 12.
No, I'm sorry. Was that in town?
Yeah.
That's how they treated you in town?
Mm-hmm.
And you did not get treated that way on the base?
Mm-mm.
Were you treated that way here in Cleveland County during that period?
No.
What do you think?
Yeah.
You think you were...
Back to
Think you were-
barbecue place, you couldn't go in there to eat,
So you,
but you can
got
go around to the back and get your skin.
So you had to go around the back?
Yeah.
Okay. But the military base did not discriminate that way.
That one did.
That one didn't. But you had a different experience.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it wasn't the base itself. It's just what people did in the unit, you know.
Right.
And, you know,
Oh, yeah.
for
Right.
example, like when we got there, you had what they call a newcomer's briefing that you had to go to. And I don't know what rank it was that was doing the briefing. And he just basically came out and told us, the blacks, that we need to be careful about where we go. And
Out in town?
yeah, and so we knew that. But like I said, I mean, everybody wasn't that way. But like I said, when that happened with me with the promotion and stuff, you know, I mean, it hurt, you know, you doing what you're supposed to do.
Who goes from Florida to Vietnam voluntarily? You know, I mean, I said, did you look at it that there was more opportunity in Vietnam for you, or you were just so tired of the crap?
I just want. I mean, when you walk around a B-52 for 8 hours a day, KC,
It'd be boring.
or 2 KC-135s, 8 hours a day.
I mean,
and like
I hated gardening. I hated gardening. I had to
And
do
you
it
in
sometimes.
Florida, like I said, when you look at that, you see the heat wave, and you out there with no shade, none whatsoever,
Yeah.
for 8 hours. But anyway, that's what I did, and we got to Vietnam, and it was a little better there, and I decided I wasn't going to go through the process of trying to get that test done, and so I guess I was there for what?
In Vietnam?
Yeah, probably about 8 months, 9 months, and we got a black flight chief, we called him, and that was the first time I had seen a security policeman at the rank of E6 above.
Okay.
And he came out on my post for a jump and wanted to know why I hadn't got my 5 left, and he said he was looking up a training record and he didn't see the reason why I shouldn't have it. And when I explained it to him what happened, and I said, I just decided I'd just be an E3 the whole time I'm in here. And that's when he told me, and said, you know, said, they were holding you back then, but said, now you're holding yourself back and you shouldn't let that happen. He told me one single we worked 2 to 10. And when I got off that night, and he told me to come by his boots and talk to him, and after he left, I thought about what he said. And I decided I'd go back on what they call OJT, and we did that for about 2 months.
On the job training.
Yeah. And in fact, the night that we took that picture over there, me and William and Frank got together,
Right.
and we went down there, and guys found out that we were brothers. But William was working, and me and Frank was out there, and they found out, and then we said, well, we're going to go get the other brother, Frank told us.
Were you guys on the same base?
Yeah, we had, well, they was at South Beach, they called it. I guess we're about 8 or 10 miles apart, something like that.
So you were close?
Yeah, and I was at Cameron Bay, the Air Force Base.
Did you know that they were already there when you decided to go to Vietnam?
No, well, see, William was out, he was out in the boondock, he was out in the field when I got over there.
Okay.
And Frank, he came right to Cameron. So.
Gotcha.
But when I took the test, like I said, that night, when they found out we couldn't buy any beer. It wasn't 10 cents a can and 30 cents a shot. And we sit there, and we just had a table full, everybody was buying, you know, they would tell me, you know, when they snapped that picture, and I was just messed
I want
up.
to get
Frank
a picture of those pictures before I leave.
And Frank, he just left me. He went down in the village. William stayed there and took care of me. I can remember I was just sick. I was throwing up, carried on. Called up the air base, and this guy in maintenance, he came down and picked me up.
You mean because you had too good of a time hanging
Drinks,
out? Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. But anyway, and we got short. And I had to take that test
Yeah.
the next day.
Oh, good.
And a friend of mine, well, he was in the Army, but he had got hurt, and he came by, he was up there with us, and he was actually AWOL. But he was staying with us, and we were cops. But he stayed up all night long to make sure that I got up to take that test the next morning.
Your friend did, or the E6 did?
My friend did.
Your friend did. Okay.
And when I took the test out, my head was so bad, if I did like this, start swimming, I had to sit and hold my test up like this and put it down and mark my answer.
How'd you do on the test?
Oh, the max you could get, it was on a percentile basis.
Yeah.
And the max you could get was a 95. I did a 90 on it.
Oh, good for you.
So, and then, 2 weeks later,
Right.
that's when I got sick. I think about 2 weeks later I got sick. And I might not been that long. But anyway, I got sick with the hospital, and I had less than 90 days to go, and they was expecting me to be in the hospital over 30 days. So
Right.
that meant they automatically medevaced me. So,
Right.
and that's when I came back. And
But your job over there in Vietnam was military police,
yeah,
SP, special
so,
police.
yeah. And then I went to Andrews, and I got a chance to work law enforcement. And when I got to work law enforcement, I liked being a cop then.
At Andrews Air Force Base.
Right.
Right.
And I worked law enforcement for a while. Then I went to security. I didn't mind the security there. We guarded presidential communication aircraft. They had another squadron that guarded the Air Force One itself. But the communication and support aircraft, we guarded, which is good. And I was going to stay in, but I was wanting to get an overseas assignment. And they said they couldn't do that. They guaranteed me stateside. So I just went on and got out. Plus, I thought if I got out, I get where I can tell somebody where to go if I don't like something. But kind of like Gene said, you realize if you had a job worth having, you tried one worth going to, people going to check your reference. So you realize that no matter where you go, you take orders.
Yes.
So I got out and came back here. I worked at PPG about 6 months. Got laid off there. Went to work at JP Stevens, and then I went back to visit DC, and I got a job driving the bus up there. So I moved back to that area, drove the bus for 2 years until they fired me. Said I was accident prone.
Accident prone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't drive a bus either, man.
And I
Yeah.
went to truck driver school, but I never did get a job driving a truck. And just like nothing ever worked for me. I had a good job. I even worked as
Sure.
policeman for Federal Aviation, but I got fired during my probationary period because the guy almost ran over some people when I pulled Roscoe, and he stopped. And they fired me, said it was a minor traffic infraction. So then like I said, nothing worked for me, And so I came back home, and I guess I came back in November, and I went in the first. Anyway, to make it short there, come back home, and I was thinking about going back in the military, but I knew the Air Force wouldn't take you back if you'd been out over 3 years. My father and I was sitting in the basement talking one evening, and he said, "Don," can't say what he said, but you ought to go back in service. He said, at least when you move around, you don't have to look for a job. And I was already thinking on this, and it's like I was waiting for somebody to validate it.
Validated.
And Cheryl came to pick me up that evening. It must have been on a Friday night, but anyway. And I was telling him about it. He said, "Well, I don't think he said nobody but you now." I said, So then we was talking. He said he was going to be out that Monday, had some business to take care of. So he carried me down. Said he'd take me by the recruiting station. Well, he go down and take care of his business. He get ready to come back up 18. I said, "I thought you were going to take me by the recruiting station." He said, "Boy, you ain't going no army." I said, "They take me, I'm gone." So we went by. The guy started asking questions. He asked about an RE code. I said, "I don't know." He said, "Well, you need to get your 214 and come back to see me."
Sure.
Well, I had my 214 in my wallet. So I showed it to him. I had an RE code. He wanted to know if I could come back the next morning and take the test, which I did. Took the test. And I was actually supposed to leave the first time on the 2nd of February, but then when I went, they said I had to have a waiver because I was divorced and had 2 kids under 18. So I had to wait for the waiver when they come back. It's come back sometime in March. And they started asking me when did I want to go. I said, "Well, when can I go?" And he said, call these dates off, and he said the 1st of April. And that's why I go the 1st of April, which made it be exactly 5 years, because that's when I got out April the 7th and went back in April the 75.
Right.
And little did I know if I'd have waited another day, I would have had to go to basic training again. But it all worked out, and from that point on, I went in as a Lance Missile crewman, what they call 15 Delta, did that. And at Fort Sill, I went to Fort Leonard.
In the Army?
training.
In the Army? Yeah. Okay.
Went to Fort Sill for AIT, advanced training, and that was also the first duty station. From there, I went to
Advanced infantry training, AIT,
advanced technical training.
some kind.
And
But you had technical training, yeah.
Advanced individual training.
Individual training,
Yeah.
okay.
And went to Italy, was there for 2 years. From there, I come back to Fort Sill for about 6 months or so. Then I went on recruiting duty for 4 years in Pittsburgh. And from there, up to Fort Bragg. But when I called recruiting duty, they reclassified me to what they call 13 Bravo counter crewman. Did that, and I went to Hawaii. I was there for about 2 years. And from there, I went to Fort Carson, Colorado. Then to Korea. Back to Fort Eustis, Virginia. Back to Fort Bragg.
How many
And
years were you
then I
in?
retired. I did 21 and a half.
21 and a half years between the Air Force and the
Right.
Army.
Totally, yeah.
So you retired 21 and a half
Right.
years. Well, thank you for your service. That's a lot of service to your country. That's awesome.
Yeah. And like I said, and to me, the military was good, you know, and as far as once I got out, VA, I had to say the VA has been good to me.
VA's been good to you?
Well, I guess I've been good to myself with it because I stay on.
Yeah, sure. You have to, right? Yeah.
And I guess that's about it, you know. And like I said, going in, it had to be a different way of life than feeding them hogs.
Right. I mean, yes, I agree.
Okay.
Hey, I'm gonna stop this and just record another file, okay? Just to make sure this was saved right. All right.
Y'all want anything?
So I'm gonna start back, and you have a young lady there giving you a Dr. Pepper.
Oh, you want anything to drink?
I don't.
Sure, man.
Open for you.
Sir, what's your full name?
William Henry Schenk.
William Henry Schenk. Okay. And Mr. Schenk, I guess you went into the military after Donald did. Is that right?
Right.
Do people call you William or Bill or
Both.
Bill?
Both.
Both? Okay. And you went in the military after Donald, correct?
Yeah, I went in July 13, 1966.
66, okay. That's just right after you. You went in what, June?
June 16th.
You went in about a month later.
Yeah.
So what made you join up at the time?
Well, I was messing up, you know, and all.
Yeah.
So I decided I'd do something, in other words. And my brothers had been, so I figured I'd do something the same, in other words, just for the experience.
Yeah, and get out of town, right?
Right, and so there's a bunch of us, in other words, back then, in other words, they have the draft board, and they would have a bus load of us at the bus station. At some period of time, go down to Charlotte and have the test, in other words, your aptitude test or whatever, and so I met a guy then, and he said, "That's passed. We passed. Let's go on in." I told him, "No, I ain't going in." But then every time I would see it, he would ask the same thing. But then, so he went in June. So fine went in July. And the day after I went in, I wished I had never done it. You know, in other words. But anyhow, we got our orders there at Fort Jackson, and for about 3 weeks we were there, and then they shipped us to Fort Gordon, Georgia, and everything went okay there, and then they shipped us to Fort Sill, Oklahoma for AIT training, and I trained on artillery there, and left Fort Sill and went to Fort Benning, Georgia for jump school. And I left there, went to Fort Bragg. From Fort Bragg to Fort Campbell, Kentucky for jungle training. And then I got my orders for Vietnam, and they gave us all a 15-day leave, and which my brother was at home and I was at home at the same time, and he knew about my orders, and he was going in January and I was going in December. He told me that I didn't need to go because I had my wife was pregnant and by him being in the country, I wouldn't have to go, but I wanted to go anyway. So we left the 6th of December, 67. Yeah, 67. Going to Vietnam. In other words, the whole rest of 101st Airborne, most of it already over in Vietnam, and the rest of it went. In other words, they turned the barracks over to the 1st Infantry as we left. So that was about it until I came back from Vietnam.
So, well, thank you for your service,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Schenk. And I mentioned, in other words, I was over there, and I wanted to stay with the guys that I had been there with over a year. You know, didn't want to leave them and everything, but they had so much turnover and everything, and see, I had told them about my brother in country and everything, and they told me, said, hell, if they had a brother in country, they'd leave my ass. So, but anyhow, so I started processing, trying to get out of there because we were losing people and everything, and but it took a while, and meanwhile, my mother had wrote and told me that they had drafted Frank, you know, and I don't know what the age was at the time. In other words,
22.
No, you were 23.
I was 22. I was 23 after I got in now. But I was drafted 23rd,
No,
and 3 days later I was 23.
but anyhow, and I know Frank had been trying to get in there, and he couldn't get in because
No, he didn't.
huh?
He put Austin soap on his own to get that one. Why? I know what the food done.
To where now?
And then I told him I was going to get it over with, and then when that Viet War thought they dropped his butt right back in there. He didn't have no oxygen soap. He wanted.
But I know he wanted, but anyhow, she told me that they were drafted Frank, and I said to myself, hey, we must be losing. Goddamn, drafted Frank, you know. So anyhow, it went on, and so then she wrote me another letter saying that he's in Vietnam somewhere. She didn't know where. So at the time, I had came out of the field, you know, off the line and everything, and got processed out to. They would send me anywhere overseas, except they were going to send me back to states out to my D-Row state and everything. So Dawn kept telling me Cameron Bay hadn't been hit one time since it's been going there. So, okay, so I put in for that, and so they attached me to the 97 MP Battalion, Police Battalion there in Cameron Bay. So I got my orders, and they flew me to Cameron Bay, and I could not believe they had, just like around here, paved streets and stuff like that, night lights and stuff like that there and everything. And compared to
you couldn't light up a cigarette at night up a corn tree probably because when you pull on that cigarette, they get beam in on their head, you see.
Right.
And,
That's not good.
No. So anyhow, had I think it was 5 piers down there where the ships come in, like one bring in ammunition, one might bring in food or whatever, the different one. But anyhow, my shift was 8 to 8, you know, and so we had a guard house there. In other words, we had to check who the ID going in on off the ship. So anyhow, and our company commander had told her don't take no junk off nobody. I had a 45 and the M16 and the billet stick, you know, and everything.
Right.
And so, okay, so this particular morning, people coming off the boat and everything, everybody showing me the ID card except this one person and everything. He walk on by like he owned the place, you know. So anyhow, so I said, I wrapped the billet, I unhooked my 45 there, and we have a billet strip down there, because I'm ready to go back home. I know what I've seen.
Yeah.
And so...
trying to come on the base there, you were working the gate.
Yeah.
And this is in Vietnam, right?
In Vietnam.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, soldier. He kept walking, and hey, soldier. Kept walking, so finally we got a little loud and everything. So he was sort of a little light there and everything, but he was sort of got in the shadow and everything. And I walked up to him over. I said, Frank. He said, who are you? That's William, you know, in other words. And he pulled up my helmet, a lot of SG on it. Boy, I get ready to mess you up, you know. So that's how I met Frank over there. That's how I met Frank over there and everything. And but then everything went downhill after that. I couldn't tell him nothing. I couldn't tell him nothing, but yet did. But anyhow, and I had some pretty good, bad experience out there and everything. And one experience I had was General Blackjack Pershing, his grandson, got killed while I was, you know, in my group. And matter of fact, I told for sure. See, I got home, I guess that before I went to Vietnam, yeah. And my father had told me about Cheryl got kicked out of school. He'd been in trouble and everything. And this was before Cheryl, he showed me a tree brand knife. It was sharp and everything. So I took it from him. I said, you don't need this, you're already in trouble, you know, and everything. And so I took that knife with me to Vietnam. And so we was getting out of the helicopters, the Chinook helicopters they couldn't land. They could land, but they get stuck in the rice paddy. So they just hovered over there and we had to jump out. But yet deal, we got fired upon and everything. And all, and it hit this medic, and then what's his name, General Pershing, grandson got hit too in the first sergeant and stuff like that. And so the medic had me cut all his clothes off. He got hit down in here. Had cut all the clothes off, boots and stuff like that there and everything. And to you know, and I drove him back, moved him back best I could by myself because it was rice paddy. You just slipping and see them. And we had, in other words, we went abreast to volley from the fire into the jungle, and we didn't get no return fire, so we went abreast to going into the hedgerow there and everything. And probably got halfway between the rice paddy that we was at and the next one, they fired up on us and everything. So they didn't have, I had to pull him back, and I just, my gun, my rifle, I had it on the shoulder, and it kept coming back as I pulled him, and it hit me upside the head. So I throwed it down and everything, and pulled him back so far, and then I got help. They helped pull him back and everything. But I just thought I'd mention that General Pershing, his grandson, his great-grandson, was in our outfit. And we didn't know it until you had all these magazines coming out there want to write stories, but the commander had told us not to say anything to see them.
Do you think that your military service in any way prepared you for civilian life after you got out?
Well, I guess to the same time, I know that I need to work. I need a job. So, no, I didn't force what I'd done, artillery and rifleman. No, I don't think that helped me. In other words, you know, for work, I'm gonna do my work and everything. No, I don't think I used any of it, really, to tell the truth.
Yes, sir.
I worked as a lab manager at PPG Industries for 35 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm telling you, I was glad to get out of there. And I was sort of tricked in a sense whenever we passed the test and everything, so I decided to go down to the draft board, and I asked to join the draft.
Yes, sir.
And at that time, the lady told me, said, okay. She said, are you sure? I said, okay. And so it had, that afternoon I went back home and everything, the telephone rang. So it was a guy asking me what all I wanted to do. I said, I want to be a paratrooper and everything. But see, all at the same time, he's a recruiter. He's trying to give me 3 years. And I was supposed to get 2 because I volunteered for the draft. And I didn't know that until after I got in there. And that really made me mad. Take a year of a person's life that wasn't intended, you know. I didn't like that.
Understood. Yes, sir. Yeah, the draft's a rough prospect. I was not drafted, but I don't know how I'd feel about that.
Well, like I said, after we did basic training in AIT, and the last formation before we break up and go on our way, they told the people there, people want to go to jump school, but they had 2 years, and they told them they had to sign up for another year to go to jump school. But after they got in jump school, people with 2 years was there in jump school. And see, these people just signed on another year because they wanted to go to jump school, and they thought that's what they had to do.
I know my dad was drafted in the Army, but the problem was he had already joined the Navy. It was already stationed in California.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the Navy when he got his draft notice came through, they drafted him in the Army. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for your service, and I'm glad you didn't shoot your brother when he was coming up on you on the guard stand there.
No,
That'd have been a welcome to Vietnam right
I don't know why you thought they had advantage of me.
there. So you're next. Is that right?
Yeah.
You were drafted into the Air Force. I'm sorry, Army. Drafted into the Army.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your full name?
Franklin Howard Shank.
Franklin
Howard
Howard
Shank.
Schenk. Okay. And they call you Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so, you know, what year were you drafted?
68.
68.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened? How'd you feel about that?
Oh, I didn't like it.
You weren't jumping up and down about it.
No. When I wanted to go, they wouldn't take me then. They come. Wait till I got 22 years old and then 3 days and then birthday. Yeah, I was an old bang going in there. You know I wasn't like that.
Happy birthday.
Here they is hollering at me all the time. I just couldn't take it.
In the Army.
Yeah, I had to do what I had to do there to, survive that.
Let me, before you go any further, one important thing I've got to tell you. In other words, whenever Martin Luther King got killed, and it was white and black rioted Long Beach jail, in other words, they ended up burning it down. And so we had to take them to Hawaii, down in Schofield Barracks. I get the name of the place right there, Schofield Barracks.
Had to take who?
Schofield Barracks at Pearl Harbor there. And
Who did you have to take there?
the prisoners.
Okay,
In other words, 2 plane loads of it.
from the riots.
Yeah, that's after they done burned it down. Now where they was, there was some time in between there.
In Memphis? Is that what you're talking about?
No,
Where,
Vietnam.
riots where? In okay.
Vietnam.
Vietnam. Okay, I'm sorry.
Vietnam.
All right.
And there was some time in between there, but anyhow, they chose me and
There were riots in Vietnam after Martin Luther King was killed.
They rioted.
Who rioted?
They rioted.
Prisons at Long Beach.
Okay.
What do they call it?
Long Beach jail.
Yeah, what do they call it? Something.
LBJ.
No, it was. But anyhow, they rioted black and white, and they burned down the jail.
Were these American prisoners there
Yeah.
that were being held by us?
Yeah.
Or being
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
It was our own people,
Sure.
and so they had.
It was just a military prison there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
In country.
Yeah, Long Beach jail, they call it. But anyhow, they got me and a bunch of others to escort them to Schofield Barracks, which is right there at Pearl Harbor. And they had a plane load. The first plane load left. The first bus load took over to the airport and everything. When they got to the Bill jail, in other words, they couldn't load the plane because they were shooting mortars in. So when we came in, we was able to get right on the bus, and they took off. In other words, they're shooting at us and everything like that. But anyhow, while we were going, they couldn't keep them handcuffed on the plane. They had on handcuffed, and them guys they just talked junk all the way to Schofield Barracks and everything and all, and so they loaded the buses. They had a
Is it Schofield Barry or Schofield
Barracks.
Barracks. Schofield Barracks.
Barracks.
Okay, Schofield Barracks.
And so as they got off the plane, they handcuffed them and everything like that. And so the tone had changed and everything like that. So I'll never forget, we were coming down the mountain, and that's where I first heard Smokey Robinson, Smokey Robinson song, Emotion, whatever you call it. Second Emotion. I never forget that. But anyhow, got to the barracks down there, to the jail, and see they got street rules and everything. Those guys started to cry and stuff like that. And I just could not believe it, from the way they were talking on the plane. And then when they got there, I guess they know what to expect or whatever, I don't know. But I just thought I'd mention that about the riot where they burned the jail down.
Yeah, but also, did you not go to Detroit?
Huh?
Did you go to Detroit?
Detroit. No.
Oh, they had a ride up there, did you not?
Oh yeah.
DC you went, wasn't it?
No, yeah, that was,
Did you go to DC for the ride?
Yeah, you went somewhere. I know Detroit.
I can't remember that if it did.
Yeah, because I was looking at the movie last night, and I told him.
Is it a good movie?
I said, he can relate. I said, we can relate to that because he had to go to Detroit. What he's showing all the...
Good movie?
Up
Good
there.
movie? Is it a good movie?
Yeah.
I hadn't seen Detroit yet.
Yeah, it's a true movie, though. It's true. It make you mad, though.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The way them guy was railroaded by the police.
Sure.
And all, killed.
I'm sure.
It's like, yeah, sure.
So,
But you think about it, you went somewhere. I went to Detroit.
well, thank you for telling that part of it.
Yeah,
That's interesting. I did not know that there were riots in the military jails of Vietnam when
No, that was just in Vietnam.
Martin Luther King.
LBJ.
Yeah.
I guess it was the biggest one, whatever, in other words. For what I know, that's the only thing, in other words. And like I said, they picked me to go and a bunch of others, in other words. And when we got there and everything, I thought we were going to come around back. We had 11 days to stay there before the plane go back to Vietnam. So I had a little time there in Hawaii.
How'd you like Hawaii?
I liked it. It was sort of expensive. Back then, I had
It
the,
is expensive.
had the little club beer, that's what you call it.
Pony beer.
Huh?
Pony.
The little club beer, the little short thing.
Country club.
And we were there.
Country club beer was it?
And I got to pay for the whole first round. It was full. I got to pay for the first
Chug 'em
round.
up.
Gave me $5, paid the change bag, ain't get shit back.
Been to Hawaii a few times. I liked Hawaii. Both while I was in the military and not in the
Yeah.
military. But yeah.
Yeah, we was over there in 2006.
I hear it gets old if you live there for too long.
Yeah, it does. It does because,
The island gets kind of small.
yeah. I tell you, and I played one round of golf, win, so I try to get a rain check, but they don't do that over there. You gonna play that win or don't play.
Right.
But it's a good experience we got around, and matter of fact, me and my wife rode on top of the volcano, 38.5 feet a mile, back down the mountain and everything.
Diamond Head or another one?
I can't remember what head it was, but it was something else. See, I hadn't rode a bike and I don't know when, but it was a good experience.
I bet. So Frank, you got drafted.
Well,
You didn't like it. Turned 22 3 days after you were drafted.
turned 23.
How long were you in? 23. How long were you in the military?
Well, the rapid time 2 years.
You were in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Spent most of it in Vietnam.
Yep. I didn't go, but let's see. Went to tried my base down in Fort Bragg, and then Fort Jackson, and from there to Vietnam. And hated every minute of it. And still do, just thinking about it.
Sure. It's never fun when you're dragged somewhere you don't want to go, right?
Well, it'd have been all right, though, I guess, if I was young like the rest of them.
You're a few years older.
Sitting up in there. Yeah, so we're at 23. No, I didn't like that.
Did you have any interesting things happen in the military in Vietnam?
No, just regular stuff.
It's kind of
Yeah, because see, I was my MOS was a duty soldier. They put me in where they wanted to.
right.
They tell me to go cook. They tell me to do anything I had to do.
Gotcha.
Yeah. They tell me to do anything. They put me in the infantry. They can do anything they want to with you. I know I didn't like too much about that either. But I didn't have nothing interesting I want to tell.
Okay. But you got out.
Got out, went to work. And that was it.
Okay. So nothing beneficial that carried over to your private life and after Vietnam.
No, because even I was in the over there, I was a longshoreman out there on the ship, man. Ain't got no ship around here. Ain't going no charge nowhere like that. So it didn't do me no good.
Moss Lake, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Raw River.
Oh, nothing do me no good coming out over.
Yes, sir. Well, you know,
Plus,
Let me tell you,
the one was served.
Tell you about that hamburger down in Mississippi.
what about a hamburger in Mississippi?
Couldn't go in the restaurant
Yeah,
to eat. And they said we could pick it up in the back.
right.
So we ordered about 14 and give them time to fix it, and then we left. Didn't even get the hamburger.
Sure. Sounds fun to me. Yeah.
Could have been better fun if I thought I could get away with it, but
Well, I know when I was in the military, I never loved the fact that it was a lot. Even if you were working for someone you didn't agree with, or may have not have been as smart as you were, or whatever else, and you still had to do whatever they said. Period. Or you had to face consequences.
Yeah.
But I guess for me, part of the way that carried over to civilian life for me is I don't know that it's much different now. I mean, you know, I've got clients that I work for. Really, I work for the people that work for me. I end up working for because I'm just trying to keep them happy and paid. And you know, I've got bosses. They're judges. They're you know, I guess ultimately I'm working for my wife in the end. You know, and my kids. But I guess I learned to take it and learn to be okay with some of those things while I was in. And I think that carried over to how I handled relationships when I got out. But it took a while. I had to grow up. So.
Yeah, the chain of command, that's good too.
Chain of command, that's true. That stuck with me too, because it taught me that I'm going to go to that person and address whatever grievance I have with them if I can,
Right.
before I run
Right.
to the next guy up or the highest person who doesn't have time to hear about it anyway, and it's just going to make the person that's above me even matter. You know.
Right.
So that chain of command, I have used that. I have used that.
I used it a couple of times and
Yeah.
it worked out perfectly.
That's right. Even
That man should have fired me, but see, I done went to him first.
right,
In other words, and he was supposed to go and talk to the guy. I told him, getting on my damn nerves.
right,
And so he said he'll talk to him. It was like in the fall of the year, and then around March or April of the next year, they really got to him. In other words, and they really got to him, and I just went off.
Was this in the military or PPG?
PPG.
PPG, yeah.
Yeah. And see, at that time I was getting 30% disability. In other words, something was wrong with me. But anyhow, after that happened, I mean, one guy said, "Bill, don't talk to me like F you." I mean, I just went off.
Right.
But yet still, that was in the afternoon, and then the next day, they called me up to the superintendent's office, which they too was there too, in other words. So, the superintendent said, "Bill, I heard what went wrong." I said, "Well, why you do that, whatever and everything?" I said, "Ken," I said, "it got on my nerve, and I just went off. I couldn't help it, in other words." So then I told him, I said, "Now you know, I talked to you last fall about that, and you said you were going to talk to him." And so right there, then, he admitted that, yeah, he did, and he didn't talk to him like he said. He told me he would, you see.
Right.
So that pretty much got me off the hook right there. But until he got on my case and everything, but he told me that if that happened again, he didn't have no alternative but to terminate me or whatever. So that helped me out there and everything. And like I said, I just had getting 30% disability and didn't know what was wrong with me. And so I said to myself, I better let these jokers know, you know, because something ain't right. And so anyhow, I called him a few days later, in other words, he couldn't get in touch with him, in other words. He was gone or I was gone one. So when I got back from the beach there and everything, and the guy told me that Ken was looking for me and everything. So I called him that morning, and he said he had I want to talk to him. He said he had a meeting downtown, so told me to come up at about 2 o'clock. So I went up there at 2 o'clock. We talked, and I explained things to him, you know, my situation and everything. So he just sort of raised up in his chair, looked across the desk there and everything. He was looking at me, and he said, I told him, I said, "Now I'm not making this up." He said, "Bill, I know you ain't making it up." He said, "My brother going through the same thing, you know, in other words, he having to help his brother and everything." So he immediately asked me, "Would I take disability retirement?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to get my pension and everything." He told me to come. So we went up front there, and about 4:30 I was retired, but we was having problems down there where I worked at and everything, and they didn't want me to leave until I get that straightened out and everything. So I stayed on about 8:30 or something like that there and everything. And I walked in the house, and my wife was in the living room, and I said, "Free LA, free LA." Thank God Almighty, I'm free LA. She didn't know what was wrong, in other words, and then plus I got 5-week vacation, and so that was like on a Wednesday. So that Thursday, I'm gonna play golf, Friday, everybody called her. She said, why you taking on? I said, I was going to take vacation and everything. You ain't been taking vacation because I always use my vacation at the end of the year. And, but you know, I said, I want to take, and I went on about 3 weeks. And I went and tell her. And so finally she said, you got to tell me something. Something I got to work around. So that's how, you know, coming out, you know, retirement and everything.
And Frank, man, a few words, right?
Yeah.
It was, you know, you were drafted. You were dragged there, and you got through it, right?
Yeah, I made it.
You made it. Well, thank you for your service. I appreciate it. And you, sir, what's your full name?
Cheryl Schenk.
Cheryl Schenk. Okay. Cheryl Schenk.
Yeah,
Cheryl Schenk.
Cheryl Cornelius.
Cheryl Cornelius. How you spell Cheryl? How you spell Cheryl?
SHERRILL.
Okay, gotcha. Cheryl
He
Schenk.
learned how to spell.
Right, that's the only word he knows how to spell. Okay, gotcha. What do people call you? Cheryl?
Squirrel.
Squirrel?
Yeah.
Squirrel. Okay.
Shadrach. Short stuff.
What?
I call it
Short stuff? Okay, okay. Well,
Well,
you were in the Army. You never went to the Air Force.
No,
Okay. And when did you go to the Army?
I went in and
You're the youngest, right? Okay. All right.
yeah, I volunteered, and my reason for volunteering because see, I'm the last of all, and they didn't leave such a good track record for me.
Right. You had to clean it up.
So Daddy wouldn't sign me to get no car.
Okay.
So I got mad. I was just gonna leave, go in service.
Okay.
So I couldn't get around and nothing like that.
Right. You just stuck at the house.
And so I decided to go in service. And then I went and passed the test, everything. Then they asked me when I want to leave. I said, I'm going to leave that Sunday. Because I knew they were moving in the new house that Monday. And that pastor friend, Daddy wanted me to turn down.
Right.
So I didn't want to turn down no pastor friend.
Okay.
So I left and then got to Fort Jackson, that's where my base training were. And then called Tank Hill. You had to throw that duffel bag on your back, you had to run up that hill and got that technical shot or whatever and your shoulder was sore.
Yeah.
And I thought about it then, I said, Lord, I wish I was there turning that fence down.
Right. Instead of running up this hill and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and then that's when I did my basic training there. It got a little better. And then getting to come home, one time I decided not to come home. And I just gonna hang around. And you know, you're not supposed to associate the NCO being a private. But me and Drill Sergeant Jacket, we were pretty close. That's why I talk about the Chugabug beer, the big
Right.
5-bottle beer.
Chug 'em up.
And me and him was drinking up the beer and stuff. And I didn't go home. I had a pass to go home, but I didn't go home. And so that Monday morning was in the mess hall. And I heard the captain, you know, at first thought they was talking about me being AWOL. And Drill Sergeant Jekyll, you know, all them NCOs sat at the table together. And he was saying, I don't know if he couldn't say that me and him together or nothing like that, but he said, I thought he was still on base. I don't even know if he went home or not. And I heard him talking about it. So, and I supposed to sign in when you come back off leave, but I felt I didn't go nowhere. I didn't need to sign in. But yet still, since I had to pass, I didn't sign in, so they thought I was gone. So anyway, I just got it from the table and let them know that I went AWOL. And then from there on, went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, for my AIT for artillery. And from there, I went to Vietnam. And I spent about, 11 months and 15 days over there. And I didn't get to take no R&R, because most people go on R&R.
Right.
But I was going to save mine like some of them would save the R&R to the end. So when they go on R&R, and they come back, all they do is pick up the stuff and keep going. And my R&R was Bangkok. But anyway, I'll save mine to the last, and then that's when the war about to end up in Vietnam. And Nixon was making a speech or whatever, and we were deactivating.
Right.
And so since we were deactivating, nobody could
go on R&R, so I wound up didn't get no R&R, period. And then, other than that, then I came back home, and my next duty station was Seattle, Washington. And when I got there in January, I was in the day room and I saw this sign saying an early hour. If you join the National Guard, you get an early hour. And so that's what I done. And I come out on the 23rd of January, join the National Guard. And after I was out with that for a while, I had to come to King Mountain once a month for guard duty for the weekend. And I didn't like that. And so, anyway, I missed a couple. I missed at least one and make an excuse. The next time I missed one, I went to the doctor's office and pretended like I was sick. And when they left the little pad on the wall over there, you know, when they go out the rooms, and for waiting on the doctor to come back, I just tore me a piece of paper because it had his head in on there.
Right.
And scribbled me some stuff because they say doctors can't read, they write no way, so I couldn't read mine either. But that was my doctor's excuse. I carried it back to the National Guard people and get an excuse for that. And then the next time I come around, I still wasn't going. So that's when the man told me, said, well, you can go back and do 6 months and clean the slate.
Right.
So I went back in June of 73 and got out in November. They sent me to Fort Richardson, Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska, rather. Well, Fort Richardson down there. I spent 6 months in Alaska, and that was the end of it.
Well, thank you very much for your military service.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate that. Do you feel like anything you did in the military prepared you for civilian life in any way?
Oh, Lord, yeah, that's the best thing ever happened to me.
Right. Why is that?
Well, one thing, I got away from the boys.
Okay.
Because,
You mean your friends or your brothers?
Yeah,
your friends, yeah.
friends. And
yeah.
you learn that there's more to life than just where you live at.
Sure.
And even though when I got there, I used to drink 16-ounce beers, I never drunk another one since I come out of service. I got back home, it's so big looking to me.
Yeah.
And then plus, I learned the big experience right there above my mother's house. I told my brother Frank that. I said, you know, we went to school right there at Burn. But I said the best lesson I learned right here between my mama's house and the neighbor's house up there. Because when I was in service and stuff, and I come home, I would hang out with the boys, buying liquor and this and that. And so, anyway, I would run out of money. Matter of fact, I had to go to Fort Jackson to get advance duty pay in order to get back to my duty station. But anyway, we got together, we standing in the middle of the highway there. They were grilling up the money to go to buy some liquor. And then we got ready to go. And we started walking over down the road. And one guy turned around and said, where you going? You ain't got nothing in it. And I done wasted all my money on these jokers, you know.
Right.
And that told me right then, I didn't need y'all. You see what I mean? And that been the end of it. And so when I got out of service, I had a bunch of $50 bills. I had them up in the closet, and now then I'll go up in there and snatch me one out, just working on it. And then I said, Lord, I need to get me a car. And so I called this guy I knew about getting a car, and he asked me how much money I had, and I didn't tell him the truth. Because, you know, when no nigga buying a car, he ain't got no gas money, and another way to get gas. So I told him I got $200. He said, well, come on over. And I ain't been walking since. See?
Well, good.
That was the best thing I done.
All right, Mom, it's your time next.
Well, thank you for your service. I appreciate that. And now you got all these boys in the military that you raised. They're good boys, right?
Yeah.
Well, good.
All but 5 of them.
All but 5 of them.
He said he's the best one.
She laughed at all your guys' jokes. I mean.
Just like when I went in there, I'm your mama, your sister, and brother, and everything. I looked at that big old joker out there. I looked at him with him like I said, I said, you ugly as you is, I know you ain't my mama.
You ain't my mama.
This is what they call me outside. Nigga, I thought that man gonna beat on me or something. But I just told him, ugly as you is, you ain't my brother, mama, your daddy.
So I'm going to go back and I'm going to edit all this out. Okay.
I meant what I'm saying too.
I'll edit it out.
I didn't have no problem with him.
No, you didn't have much problem with it? Yeah.
No, because they was already there at the barn.
Well, you know, your family's really helped serve our country too, right?
And they
It's
all
awesome.
had a cow.
Right. Oh, okay. Down at the barn, they all had a cow
Yeah,
that they took care of.
yeah. And then one Sunday I was watching TV, and they were all outside. I happened to look out the window, and they all come around the road riding me. I mean, a cow. Riding a cow. It was one of them.
Oh, yeah, we ride a cow, yeah.
Is there anybody that I can send the edited video to?
Yeah, you can send it to Mark. Donald.
Send it to Donald? Okay. I'll send it to Donald. I'll make sure I have Donald's email before I leave. I'll email him that. I may be able to edit it out today. And then I'm going to go back and type it up as a kind of an article, okay? And I'm going to include it in that book, all right? And I'll make sure I get you a copy of that book. I've got to finish editing it out. Probably be done with it I'd like to be done with it by the end of the month and have it out.
Did that change up there?
You can put
No, it's still filming.
Oh, it's still filming?
Yeah.
what's that?
What law do you work at?
McIntyre Elder Law. All I do is estate planning and elder law. That's all I do now. That's all I've done for a number of years. And we're right uptown Shelby on the corner of Graham and DeKalb Street. Just literally like right beside the fire department on Graham Street.
You can
Right on that corner.
You can add in there that I'm suffering from this Agent Orange. Cancer all over my body.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry to hear that. I want to email you the video when I finish editing it out too.
Okay.
What's your email address?
B-O-L-O. Schenk.
I'm going to stop this thing. I thank you very much for just your candor, for just hanging out and talking about it. I think after I edit the whole thing out, it'll be a fun family piece and a fun story. Okay, and you never know what's the real thing is how are the stories like you told today. I mean, how could they impact younger people also? I think there's some history there. There's also inspiration to be had too. Some people have a good experience in the military. Some people have a bad experience in the military. Okay.
Well,
And it goes either way.
my opinion, I thought they should have kept it direct.
Yeah, that's right.
Really?
Yeah, because a lot of people don't make good decisions in life.
Especially at
And
young
some
ages.
of the best soldiers and one did retire, the one that was forced in
Right.
instead of volunteering. See, and I thought, and see, like I said, if you don't get away from home, you're gonna think Lundale is the way the world
That's
works.
the way you're going to view the whole world.
And I know in the military,
Right.
you find better friends in there than you had during your whole
That's
school
very true.
years. And you just
I
can't
think
beat it.
and the education you get from going just and perspective from getting out of town for a while is a lot of times at that age better than going to college. And you still need education. It's just I do think that there ought to be said for that.
And it learns you to learn to abide by people order, cause wherever you go, somebody's gonna tell you something.
You got a boss where
Just like I had a nephew, and he was talking about he didn't want to buy
to
but he wanted to cut hair. I said, well, somebody's gonna tell you how to cut their hair.
Yeah, then your client.
Yeah,
That's your boss.
yeah.
Everyone putting the chairs your boss.
You in business. So people tell you when you need to open and close.
Yeah, you can't escape that.
Because you got the kids.
But I had a hard time. I think I had a hard time dealing with that at a young age, and it helped me. I would have been fired from civilian jobs, probably for things that I did when I was really young in the military.
Oh yeah.
When I worked that out, they hung with me. They'll give you a lot of responsibility as a young kid too.
It's just like doing things from different
respect, you get that too, or you don't have it at home. You get it in
And there are somebody said there are consequences for your actions. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I had some consequences that changed my behavior.
Well, you can't
see now it's getting to where you don't have that same thing in the military.
Right.
In fact, I was talking to a guy a couple of months ago, and how many years he said he had, 10 or 12, something like that. But anyway, I said, why you get out of that? He said, it's just so bad now that you can't do anything like you used to.
I bet you have to watch how you talk and what you say.
Yeah, you do.
What you do.
I mean, I can understand saying not being able to curse and stuff like this, but it's, for example, like when I was on recruiting duty, and I thought it was wrong for them to talk about the fact that, you out there trying to recruit, and then you got all on the news that you're doing stuff in a different way, and the soldiers that's coming in now are a lot smarter than the soldiers that you already got. And these kids coming in, they already thinking they smarter than you.
Right.
And then you got so many of them that's not coming in to serve. They're coming in to get that education money.
Sure.
And they just don't care. I mean, it's just like when I retired in '92. I mean, I could see the difference then. When we come in, even the Air Force, when you went to basic training, you might have had a little hip walk when you went in. But when you come out of basic training, everybody knows you've been away.
Yeah.
Now they go to basic training, and people come back like the same. It makes a difference.
Think Marines are getting softer too?
A little bit.
I bet you
but they're not soft up there
They're
much.
not that. You're right. Yeah. Marines they're trained killers. I mean, they pump them up to be that way anyway, right?
Well, a Marine, let's face it,
They tell them they are anyway.
Marines are brainwashed.
That's what I mean.
That's all it is.
I was in the Navy with a bunch of Marines. I mean, I was.
Well, I had a buddy,
And trained with a bunch of Marines.
he went to the Marines and I went to the Air Force. Come home on leave. And he was bragging about how tough he was. He went down Carolina Avenue. He said they told him he could whoop into 3 men. I said, they didn't teach me that. He went down there.
You're on your own.
And we drank a few beers and he got started with a guy. Guy beat him up, throw him out the door. And I told him, I said, what would have happened if you had them other 2?
Well, thanks, gentlemen. I appreciate it. It's nice to meet each one of you. And Donald, I've had a chance to hang out with. I'll email you the video once I set it up.
All right.
So you have that for the thing. I'm gonna take this thing down.
You got it.